Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today we are tackling Islam,
Yo. Okay.
which, it's a topic I feel like we hear a lot about, but maybe don't understand so well.
Right.
So we've got excerpts from this book, The Unfiltered Truth About Islam,
Okay.
and a bunch of articles and even some like historical accounts.
Yeah.
You're clearly looking for more than just the basics.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to explore how this whole thing evolved, what its impact has been, on the world, and really try to understand the religion's complexities beyond, the common narratives.
Yeah. What strikes me looking at all the stuff you put together is just how important it is to understand the historical and cultural context of Islam.
Right.
Because we often see, just snippets and headlines, but without that deeper dive, it's easy to get lost, and all the noise. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, trying to understand a movie by just watching a couple random scenes.
Exactly.
You miss the whole story. So let's rewind all the way back to like 7th century Arabia.
Okay.
Bustling trade routes, all these different cultures coming together.
Right.
And of course, you got the Kaaba, this cube-shaped structure in Mecca. That was a pilgrimage site even before Islam.
Right.
It's in this world that Prophet Muhammad kind of emerges.
It's interesting how the Kaaba itself kind of reflects that shift from polytheism to monotheism.
Right.
Right, because, before Islam, it actually housed hundreds of idols representing all these different deities.
Wow.
But with the advent of Islam, it becomes, that symbol of devotion to the one God, Allah.
It's a powerful visual, isn't it?
Absolutely.
To kind of represent that transformation.
Yeah.
So we have Muhammad, who starts as a trader.
Right.
And then he starts receiving these revelations from God through the angel Gabriel.
Right.
These revelations, recorded in the Quran,
Yeah.
they form like the foundation of Islam. What stands out to you about the Quran's role in shaping Islamic society?
I think that a lot of times we think of the Quran as just a spiritual text.
Right.
But what's really remarkable is that it lays out a complete legal and social system.
Okay.
Right. It covers everything from prayer and charity to family matters to business dealings.
Wow.
Essentially, it provides a blueprint for an Islamic way of life.
Right.
So it impacts the daily lives of Muslims in a very profound way.
It's not just about faith, it's about a whole way of being.
Absolutely.
And to understand that way of life, you got to look at the 5 pillars of Islam.
Right.
The declaration of faith, the 5 daily prayers, giving to charity, fasting during Ramadan,
Right.
and the pilgrimage to Mecca.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like the cornerstones of practice, right?
Absolutely. They're the non-negotiables.
Yeah.
The foundations of a Muslim's relationship with God and with the community.
Okay.
For instance, you've got the Declaration of Faith, the Shahada.
Yeah.
It's not just a statement.
Right.
It's an affirmation of belief in the one God, Allah, and the acceptance of Muhammad as his final prophet.
Okay.
So it's a very powerful statement.
Now, one thing that has always just fascinated me is like how quickly Islam spread.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking within a century. It reached from like Spain in the west to parts of India in the east.
Yeah.
What do you think were the main like driving forces behind that incredible expansion?
It wasn't any one single force.
Okay.
I think it's important to recognize that. Yeah, military conquest played a role, but it wasn't just about brute force.
Yep.
Trade networks were absolutely crucial.
Right.
With Muslim merchants traveling vast distances, carrying their faith and their culture along with them,
Right.
Along the Silk Road and maritime routes. This really fostered cultural exchange and facilitated the spread of Islam through these interconnected networks.
It's like a ripple effect, isn't it?
Absolutely.
With ideas and good spreading outward.
Yeah.
And, speaking of potential misunderstandings, I think we really need to talk about this concept of jihad.
Right.
Because it's so often misrepresented in the media.
Absolutely.
And what is it really about?
Well, people often translate jihad as holy war.
Right.
But that's a real simplification and leads to a lot of misunderstanding.
Right.
The true meaning is much broader, much more nuanced. It really encompasses the idea of struggle or striving.
Okay.
In a lot of different forms.
Okay.
So you have the greater jihad, which is that internal struggle against one's own, negative tendencies, their desires, striving for spiritual betterment.
Right.
And then you have the lesser jihad, which can include defending the faith. And yes, in some historical contexts, military action.
Okay. So it's not necessarily this call to arms that we so often hear about.
No.
It's more about this idea of striving
Exactly.
for a cause,
Yeah.
which can take on different forms,
Absolutely.
both personal and societal.
Yeah.
Now, Islam's interaction with other religions has been complex, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Christianity,
Okay.
which shares those Abrahamic roots with Islam.
Right.
And of course, we can't ignore the historical conflict, particularly with the Crusades.
Yeah.
How did those events shape the relationship between the two faiths?
Well, the Crusades, which spanned several centuries, were essentially religious wars.
Right.
Right. You had European Christian powers that were aiming to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim rule.
Mm-hmm.
This led to, widespread violence and bloodshed on both sides.
Of course, yeah.
And this period undeniably left a legacy of mistrust and animosity that shaped perceptions for centuries to come.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it,
It is.
about how religion, while often a source of peace and unity, can also be a catalyst for division and violence.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't always about conflict. There were also times of peaceful coexistence and cultural exchange
Yeah.
between Muslims and Christians, especially during the Islamic Golden Age.
That's right.
I mean, what can we learn from that period?
Well, the Islamic Golden Age, roughly from the 8th to the 14th centuries, is a great example of how knowledge can transcend boundaries, right? During this time, Islamic scholars made really significant advances in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy,
Right.
building upon and expanding the knowledge of ancient Greek and Roman civilizations.
Wow.
They weren't just preserving knowledge, they were actively expanding it, creating this vibrant intellectual hub.
It's amazing to see how scholarship and innovation flourished in the Islamic world during a time when Europe was in like so-called dark ages.
Right.
It really challenges how we think about history sometimes.
Absolutely.
Now, turning to the relationship between Islam and Judaism,
Okay.
they share a common ancestor in Abraham and a belief in one God.
Yeah.
Did this shared heritage lead to a more harmonious interaction?
Well, the historical relationship between Islam and Judaism is complex. Early Islamic rulers, they often granted Jews protection, allowed them to practice their religion freely.
Right.
However, this tolerance wasn't always consistent.
Okay.
There were periods of persecution and discrimination as well.
It seems like power dynamics and political circumstances often influenced how religious minorities were treated.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That seems to be a recurring theme throughout history.
unfortunately. Now, before we move on to Islam in the modern world,
Right.
let's briefly touch on its interactions with other religions, like Buddhism, for example.
Okay.
What can you tell us about that?
So, Islam's encounter with Buddhism was really marked by this clash of cultures,
Right.
ultimately leading to the decline of Buddhism in regions like Central Asia. A prime example is the fall of the Buddhist kingdom of Khotan in the 11th century.
Okay.
The Islamic conquest led to the destruction of Buddhist monasteries and the gradual disappearance of Buddhism from that region. It's a complex and often difficult part of history that highlights, the impact of these cultural and religious shifts.
Yeah. It is a reminder that the spread of religion wasn't always peaceful.
No,
Sometimes it involves suppressing existing beliefs and practices.
absolutely.
And acknowledging this complex history is essential for a balanced understanding.
It is.
Now, are we ready to tackle the kind of thorny issues surrounding Islam in the modern world?
Absolutely. There's a lot to unpack.
Right.
Starting with, the rise of Islamic extremism,
Yeah.
which has undeniably had a global impact, impacting global politics and security. I think it's really crucial to understand its roots
Yeah.
and the challenges it poses.
And I think this is one of those topics that is so often sensationalized and oversimplified in the media.
Absolutely.
We need to really go beyond those headlines and delve into those complex factors that contribute to extremism. What are some of those factors we should be thinking about?
I think it's important to recognize that there's no single easy answer to that question.
Of course.
Right. But political grievances, social alienation, economic disparities, and distorted interpretations of religious texts all play a role.
Right.
It's a complex interplay of factors that can create a breeding ground for extremism.
It's a reminder that we can't just focus on the symptoms. We have to understand the underlying causes.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the biggest challenges is that Islamic extremism has become so inextricably linked with terrorism in the minds of many.
It's understandable, I think, given the horrific acts that have been committed by some extremist groups.
Yeah, of course.
However, it's important to recognize that this association really unfairly tarnishes the image of the vast majority of Muslims
Right.
who are peaceful and law-abiding.
Of course, yeah.
It's crucial to avoid painting an entire faith with the same brush.
It's like that classic case of judging an entire group based on the actions of a few. We need to remember that extremism exists in all religions and ideologies.
It does.
Not just Islam.
Right.
So another big development is the impact of globalization on Islam. How has this interconnectedness of the modern world affected the faith?
Well, globalization has led to increased migration, cultural exchange, the rapid spread of ideas.
Right.
And this has had a profound effect on how Islam is practiced and perceived globally. It's both a unifying and a divisive force.
Okay.
It creates new connections, but also kind of highlights cultural differences.
And this interconnectedness has also led to some cultural clashes, right?
Absolutely.
Take the debates surrounding the niqab, for instance.
Right.
The full face veil worn by some Muslim women.
Yeah.
You know, in some Western countries, there have been attempts to, ban the niqab in public spaces.
Right.
What are the core issues at play in these debates?
Oh, I think these debates highlight the tension between religious freedom and secular values. They raise really important questions about integration, assimilation, and, the limits of tolerance in diverse societies.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is a complex issue with no easy answers.
Yeah. It seems like navigating cultural differences in a globalized world is just this ongoing challenge that requires
Yeah,
sensitivity and open dialogue.
absolutely.
Now, we can't ignore the impact of technology on Islam.
Right.
The internet and social media have completely transformed how Muslims connect, access information,
Right.
even practice their faith.
Absolutely.
How has this technological revolution kind of shaped the landscape?
It's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
On the one hand, technology empowers Muslims to build global communities, to access religious resources, to challenge traditional hierarchies.
Right.
On the other hand, it's also been used by extremist groups to spread propaganda, to recruit followers.
Right.
We're only beginning to grasp its full implications, I think.
It's like a digital battlefield almost.
It is.
Right. With both positive and negative forces at play.
Yeah.
And it's not just about radicalization.
Right.
Think about how technology has changed, like the way Muslims experience Ramadan. People can now connect with family and friends around the world during iftar,
Yeah.
the breaking of the fast.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how those ancient traditions are adapting to this digital age.
Yeah. Technology has also made Islamic knowledge more accessible than ever before.
Right.
You can find lectures, sermons, entire courses on Islamic theology and law online.
Wow.
This has created new avenues for learning and debate, challenging those traditional gatekeepers of religious knowledge.
It's also like a democratization of knowledge, isn't it?
It is.
People can access information, form their own opinions,
Right.
without relying solely on those religious authorities.
Exact.
But as with any revolution, there's going to be some pushback, right?
There is.
How have the more conservative elements within Islam kind of reacted to these technological changes?
Well, there's definitely resistance.
Okay.
Some conservative scholars view the internet and social media as a corrupting influence.
Okay.
They think it spreads Western values and undermines traditional Islamic teachings. And there are also concerns about the spread of misinformation
Right.
and the potential for misinterpreting religious texts.
It's like that old saying, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
That's right.
But you can't put the genie back in the bottle, can you?
No, you can't.
Technology is here to stay,
Yeah,
and it's going to continue to shape the future of Islam,
it is.
whether people like it or not.
Absolutely. And the future of Islam is a topic of constant debate and discussion,
Yeah.
both within the Muslim community and, in the broader world.
Right.
There are those who believe that Islam needs to modernize and reform to adapt to the challenges of the 21st century. And then there are those who believe that Islam should hold fast to its traditional values and resist the influence of Western culture.
It's a tension we see playing out in many parts of the world, isn't it?
It is.
How do we navigate those contrasting viewpoints?
It's a complex and evolving situation. There are no easy answers.
Right.
But one thing is for sure, Islam is a dynamic and vibrant religion that will continue to play a significant role on the global stage.
Right.
Understanding its various facets and engaging in respectful dialogue is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
We've explored the foundations of Islam, its history, its interactions with other religions, and its place in the modern world. It's been quite a journey.
It has, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we have.
Islam is a vast and intricate subject. You could study it for a lifetime. But hopefully this first part has given you a solid foundation for understanding this fascinating religion and its impact on the world.
I hope so. I think so.
Yeah, it really is a journey of discovery, isn't it?
It is.
And there's always something new to learn.
Yeah, before we move on to some further resources you can check out, there's one more point I wanted to touch on that really caught my eye in the research.
Right.
And that is this concept of masculinity within Islam.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a fascinating aspect and one that's often overlooked or misunderstood. You know, traditional Islamic teachings really emphasize the role of men as protectors, providers, and leaders within the family and society.
Good.
There's a strong focus on honor, courage, and piety.
It's interesting how that concept of masculinity might differ from what's often portrayed in like Western media.
Right.
Are there any specific examples or stories from our sources that illustrate this traditional Islamic view of masculinity?
Well, there are many examples woven throughout Islamic history and literature.
Okay.
You know, the stories of the prophets like Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, who are all revered in Islam,
Right.
often highlight these qualities of courage, leadership, and unwavering faith in the face of adversity.
Okay.
These figures serve as role models for Muslim men,
Right.
emphasizing the importance of fulfilling their responsibilities to family and community.
It's fascinating to see how these narratives kind of shape cultural ideals and expectations.
They do.
But as with any tradition, these concepts of masculinity are also evolving,
Right.
especially in the context of globalization and increased interaction between cultures.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're seeing a growing movement among young Muslims, particularly in the West,
Right.
to redefine what it means to be a Muslim man in the 21st century.
Right.
You know, they're grappling with questions of gender roles, identity, and how to reconcile those traditional values with modern realities.
It's like a conversation that's just beginning,
It is.
with a lot of different perspectives and voices emerging.
Yeah.
And speaking of conversations, I think it's time to shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and offer our listeners some resources they can explore to continue their own journey of discovery.
That sounds great.
So if you're intrigued by the history and teachings of Islam, I highly recommend checking out the book we mentioned earlier, The Unfiltered Truth About Islam.
Yes.
It's available on both Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books. It's great.
So it's easily accessible.
It is.
It's a great starting point for anyone who wants to delve deeper
Yeah.
into this complex and fascinating religion.
Absolutely. And for those seeking a more academic approach,
Okay.
there are countless books and articles available online and in libraries.
Right.
Don't hesitate to explore various perspectives and challenge your own assumptions.
That's how we grow.
Exactly. The more you learn, the more you realize how much there is still to discover.
Right.
This deep dive is just the beginning of your exploration into the world of Islam.
So what does this all mean for you? Why should understanding Islam, its history, its impact on the world, even matter to you?
That's a great question.
Well, for starters, Islam is one of the fastest growing religions globally,
It is.
with its influence shaping political, social, and cultural landscapes around the world.
Yeah, and it's not just about the numbers, though.
Right.
Understanding Islam is essential for navigating the complexities of our increasingly interconnected world.
It helps us break down stereotypes, foster empathy, and enables us to engage in meaningful dialogue with our Muslim neighbors, colleagues, and friends.
It's about building bridges, not walls.
Exactly.
And in a world that's becoming more and more polarized, it's more crucial than ever.
Absolutely. We can't afford to let fear and ignorance dictate our interactions.
Right?
You know, think about it this way. Ignorance breeds fear, and fear often leads to prejudice and discrimination.
Yeah.
By taking the time to learn about Islam, you're equipping yourself with the knowledge to challenge those fears and promote genuine understanding.
Right. It's about being an informed and responsible citizen of the world.
Absolutely.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity even amid our differences. And that brings me to another important point.
Okay.
You know, we've talked a lot about the challenges and complexities associated with Islam,
Right.
but it's essential to acknowledge the contributions that Islamic civilization has made to the world.
Oh, absolutely. We often forget that during the European Dark Ages, the Islamic world was experiencing a golden age of scientific discovery, philosophical inquiry, and artistic innovation.
It's a period rich in intellectual and cultural achievements
It is.
that have had a lasting impact.
a lasting impact.
It's incredible to think about.
It is.
Islamic scholars during that time preserved and expanded upon the knowledge of ancient Greek and Roman civilizations,
Right.
making groundbreaking advances in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and architecture.
Absolutely. They developed algebra, created sophisticated astronomical instruments, and established hospitals that provided advanced medical care.
Wow.
Their contributions went far beyond just preserving knowledge. They were pioneers in their fields.
And their influence can be seen in everything from the art of calligraphy and the design of gardens to the development of coffee and the invention of the camera obscura, the precursor to the modern camera.
It's amazing.
It's a legacy that's often overlooked,
It is.
but one that has profoundly shaped the world we live in today.
Absolutely.
Their achievements deserve recognition and appreciation.
They do.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And, as we've been discussing Islam and its complexities, it really strikes me that one of the most important takeaways is this need for nuance and critical thinking.
Yeah.
We can't just rely on sound bites or generalizations.
No, absolutely. It's easy to fall into that trap of oversimplification,
Right.
especially with a topic as multifaceted as religion.
Right.
We need to be willing to delve deeper, examine different perspectives, and challenge our own preconceived notions.
Yeah.
That's where true understanding begins.
And that's where resources like the book we've been referencing, The Unfiltered Truth About Islam, can be so valuable.
Absolutely.
It provides that deeper dive into the history, teachings, and complexities of Islam,
Right.
encouraging readers to go beyond that surface level.
It's a great reminder that knowledge is power.
It is.
The more we understand about different cultures, beliefs, and perspectives, the better equipped we are to navigate our increasingly diverse and interconnected world.
Well said. And for those who want to continue their exploration beyond this deep dive,
Yeah.
remember that The Unfiltered Truth About Islam is available on both Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
It is a fantastic resource for anyone
Yeah.
seeking a deeper understanding of this influential and often misunderstood faith.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Islam,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay.
The world is a tapestry of cultures, beliefs, and experiences.
It is.
Approaching that tapestry with curiosity, empathy, and a willingness to learn is essential.
I agree with that.
We've only scratched the surface today, but hopefully this deep dive has sparked the desire to continue exploring, questioning, and expanding your understanding of the world around you.
Absolutely.
Remember, knowledge is a journey, not a destination.
It is.
Keep seeking, keep learning, and keep the conversation going.
Couldn't have said it better myself.